Hello everyone, we are here again today with another video about identifying components and their functions. Today we'll focus on thermistors and varistors. They come in a wide variety of designs, sizes, shapes, and colors. They are used in numerous applications like power supplies, thermal switches, thermometers, and more. They are also used in both direct current and alternating current. Let's get to know them one by one. I'll start with the thermistor to explain what this small component really is. So it's a resistor, let's imagine, that changes its resistivity. Depending on the temperature it receives externally, external temperature, or the temperature it develops itself from the current that passes through it. It is very important to remember this because they can also work as standalone components, so that we don't need to apply temperature to them externally, but rather the temperature they develop internally from the current passing through them. In schematic diagrams, their symbol usually shows FH above the thermistor, and they come in two main types, NTC and PTC. The difference between them lies in how their resistance is affected. The resistance varies according to the temperature. In NTCs, as the temperature increases, the resistance decreases. Consequently, the current flowing through them increases. It starts from a resistance value provided by the manufacturer, and from there, as the temperature rises, this internal resistance decreases accordingly, resulting in them allowing more current to flow through them. Whereas in the opposite case, the PTCs, as we increase the temperature, their internal resistance also increases. Their internal resistance, so it allows less current to pass through them with the same current. That is, once again, it has a standard resistance provided by the manufacturer. And as the temperature increases, this resistance tends towards infinity, and the current decreases gradually until it reaches zero. And as I said at the beginning, the temperature is not only external, but we don't blow it with warm air from outside only. There is also the temperature that develops internally through the current flowing from the initial current. To understand it better, I will make a small circuit so we can visually see what is happening. So I will make a voltage divider with two resistors, one fixed and the other will be, or NTC, respectively. I will use both, which I will give a plus minus. So I will give a plus here, and here a minus voltage, and we will observe as it passes time as this circuit is traversed from current. The thermistor will heat up. And in the case that I use with a PTC thermistor, we will see that the current will gradually decrease. While if I will do it with both NTCs, we will see that the current increases gradually. To see it better and visually, I will use a small LED at the output. We will see the current gradually increase. To observe this more clearly and visually, I will put an LED light, which will actually take the voltage drop across the two CR diodes, and there we will see whether the current increases or decreases. But let's build our little circuit. I will dim it more. Let's see. We will make our little circulator. Let's take a look at it. So here we start with an NTC thermistor, so let's supply power, and our little LED. I have supplied power, and we see the little LED slowly lighting up. You see, the more the thermistor heats up, the more the little LED lights up. Let's see. I'll turn it off, applying power again, and then turn it back on. Slowly you can observe the thyristor is leaking more current because the intensity of the input decreases. Let's also check the PTC, the exact opposite. Here you see I apply current, and I see the little LED stays on and gradually turns off. That is, as the PTC heats up, the LED brightens and the current passing through it decreases. You see here. The same would happen if they were heated externally with a heat gun applied to them. That temperature would also be added to those above. Now let's talk about the design does not differ much from the thermistors. So in the above design, we will see them almost the same, just differentiated by letters. We can tell they look alike. Quite a lot. These also appear in various colors, designs, shapes. We can also characterize them as a infinite resistance, which, however, it is not affected by temperature, but by voltage. That is, their resistance decreases until it reaches zero if the voltage exceeds their operating voltage. Their combination is similar to thermistors, and the letter marked on the connector is a V, from their name, the Varistor. And of course, their operating voltage is indicated on them. That is, the standby voltage at 300 volts, while thermistors indicate their nominal resistance, where they start from, a 10 series resistor. So let's say this Varistor is rated at 300 volts. So in a specific case, if the voltage passing through exceeds 300 volts on it, the corresponding historical allocation will be zero branch, that is, and the entire stream will flow through from inside it. Usually when we see such a component, to wait close by to check a fuse as well, which will do this. It will short circuit and will blow a fuse or a higher rated conductor printed on some circuit board to burn this component instead of allowing the overvoltage to reach the rest of the device. It works as protection to prevent excess voltage from passing through in our device to burn the circuits further down. But when an overvoltage occurs, it will short circuit and not remain unshorted. So even if we change the fuse, it will blow again. Again, an operation must be performed on our device, and perhaps the rest of the circuit below might have been spared. The usual arrangement is the one I am now drawing for you. Neutral and phase. In the phase, we place a fuse, and then between this fuse here and the neutral, we place our varistor. Usually, we observe at the power supply input to protect it from burning out due to overvoltage. From that point onward, it goes down like that, because the varistor will definitely burn out. So when we have 220 volts input here, the varistor clamps at 300 volts. So if the voltage here rises to 310 volt, 320 volts, or so, then the varistor will short circuit, allowing all the current to pass through it and blow the fuse, which will carry less current than the outlet supplies. This way, it will protect the system. The 320 volt will not pass beyond this point. To be honest, in repairs I've done involving burnt varistors, now the fault has progressed further, and usually they don't catch it in time. So it's advisable to use voltage monitors on the network panel, so they can cut off the voltage when it exceeds the normal level. Now let's look at a circuit board to identify these two components and confirm that they are present in a power supply. Varistors and thermistors are usually found in all power supplies. Here we see our varistor, this one here, and naturally next to the varistor, we find the fuse. There is always a fuse, as mentioned, next to a varistor. You can see here it also says V1. So if there is a surge, this fuse here will blow. And there is also a thermistor here, which serves a function in our power supply. It's this little green thing here. When our device is plugged in, the component that is in series with the phase, at the beginning, the resistance will create a low current flow for our capacitors to charge, and then when it heats up, its resistance will drop to zero, and the maximum current will flow, so the device can operate normally. So, in today's video, I believe I have answered some of your questions and perhaps raised some new ones. You can write them in the comments so I can respond. If you liked the video, please share it and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the upcoming ones, so that next time you have a great time. Hello everyone,